Good morning or afternoon, Math 7, depending on when you're watching this. Today we are starting Lesson 4 of Unit 6 on scale drawings. So we just took a quiz on some other topics, and then we're going to jump into scale, which is a little bit different than what we've been talking about, but that's okay. So what is scale? Scale is when we take an object and we either shrink it because it's too big or we enlarge it because it's too small. And to make sure it looks right, you need to make sure that, like say you're doing a person, you want to make sure their head's a certain height and their arms are a certain length and all that. If you mess up the scale, you're going to have really long arms or a really big head. Okay, so we use scale in a lot of different things. We do models and drawings. So drawings would be like maps or like blueprints, or anytime you draw a picture yourself. It's scaled down because your characters are not really that small. All right, so let's start there. First off, how do we find the actual distance between these two places here in Arkansas? We want Clarksville and Little Rock. All right, now it says to use a ruler to measure. Okay, we know that the scale is 1 centimeter equals 24 miles. So you need to have a ruler with centimeters, which is going to be a little tough. Okay. Since some of you might not have a ruler at home, I'm going to help you out here. It is about 4 centimeters to get from there to there. I know I'm drawing on a screen. Also, notice I had the wrong scale. Sometimes we pull scales from previous problems, which is why I looked up there. But I see here that the scale is 1 centimeter is worth 20 miles. Okay? So when we have the scale, what we do is we set up our little proportion. We know that 1 centimeter is equal to 20 miles. And we know that we're going 4 centimeters. So what's the proportion, right? You can kind of see sideways. It's times 4. 4 times 20 divided by 1 is 80 miles. If you just do the standard proportion, you cross multiply, you get 1x equals 80. Don't forget that it's in miles, okay? Because we're converting from centimeters to miles. So it's very important you see the two different units. One is in the map, centimeters on the map, and in real life, it's really 20 miles. So let's take a look at another one. How do we find so a scooter is 3.5 feet long. Find the length of a scale model. So this time we're going to be looking at the picture given the real life object. So here's a little different. So we know 1 inch in the model, 3/4 of a foot in the real life. We know in real life it's 3.5 feet long, but we don't know how long it is here. So now this one, if you look, it's hard to see sideways what the relationship is. So 1 times 3.5 is 3.5. 3/4 times x is 3/4 x. And then how do you undo multiplication? You do the opposite. Divide by 3/4. We're going to divide both sides by 3/4. Those cancel. 3.5 divided by 3/4 is 4 2/3. Okay. And remember, we are talking about the picture. So it's centimeters. Nope. Look back. Double check. Always double check. It's inches. 4 2/3. Let me make that a bigger 4. All right. Now, scale factor. Okay. So that's using your scale to find either the model or the real life object. You set up a proportion using your scale, and it can be 1 to something. It doesn't have to be. It's nice when it is 1 to something. Now, for scale factor, we do need to make sure that it is 1 to something, because what this does is this tells us how much bigger the object is, how many times bigger the object is in the picture, or vice versa, how many times smaller the object is, depending if it's shrinking or enlarging. So how do we find scale factor? First, we write our scale as a fraction. Okay. And scale factors is always 1 over something, pretty much. I mean, it's telling you, like, so in this case, it's 172. It's telling you how many times bigger it is. So we need one of the numbers to be 1. So usually the ones on top. The ones we're going to be doing, they will be. So inches and feet, you got to think, all right, well, which unit is smaller? Because it's easier and it helps us to convert the bigger units to smaller. Inches are smaller, so we're going to convert feet to inches. There's 12 inches in a foot. So it's 2 times 12 is 24. So I know that in this picture, the scale factor is 1/24th. And that means the real sailboat is 24 times bigger than the picture. Okay. Now the bigger number